I'm just shocked at how many lies were told.
Essentially, I walked you through the New York Times metadata and showed you that this woman had posted on X and essentially just like blared it out to the world.
Players in one of the ugliest Hollywood disputes in recent memory faced off in a New York City court.
Blake Lively's situation spiraled quickly once the court brought forward digital proof that completely undercut her claims. Candace Owens presented verified metadata that exposed the inconsistencies in Lively's story, dismantling the foundation of her accusations and leaving her reputation in serious doubt. What once appeared to be a confident legal stance turned into a public unraveling of credibility.
Yesterday on Friday, Brian Friedman, Justin Baldoni's lawyer, amended their lawsuit against Blake Lively, and they included the New York Times data.
It's difficult to believe Lively truly thought she could make accusations against Justin Baldoni and simply walk away untouched. Sooner or later, the truth was bound to surface, and when it did, it didn't just catch up to her, it completely reversed the narrative she had built.
To see our side of things. Girl, goodbye. Like, just goodbye. It's like the fakest thing ever. She's now fake Lively, crying Reynolds.
What Lively failed to realize was that her carefully constructed story was filled with gaps and contradictions. Every false detail she tried to pass off as truth was effortlessly dismantled once digital records came to light, exposing just how fragile her narrative really was.
We're therefore amending this because we think that it shows that she was plotting before.
Meanwhile, the media played right into her strategy. On December 21, 2020, the New York Times released a feature that conveniently aligned with Lively's timeline, an article that mirrored her complaint almost word for word. The timing was no coincidence. It was a calculated effort to frame her as the victim before any facts could be verified. But then came the turning point. Candace Owens entered the picture, and her findings turned the entire story upside down.
Friedman says, due to public interest in this case, we have now stumbled upon this, and we're therefore amending this because we think that it shows that she was plotting before.
Owens didn't stop at commentary, she came prepared with hard evidence. Through detailed metadata pulled directly from the New York Times website, she showed that Lively's team had been in direct communication with the press even before her legal filing was made public. The supposed image of a victim fell apart, replaced by evidence that Lively had been orchestrating the media coverage behind the scenes like a strategist pulling strings.
I want to say that we should be celebrating this as a major win because we were the ones who dug all of this up like psychos because we have been obsessed with this case.
When this information surfaced, Lively could have stepped back and let the facts play out. Instead, she doubled down, launching more public statements and media efforts in a desperate attempt to control the narrative and hold on to whatever sympathy she thought remained.
Also really amazing about it is he even says we now have a concrete timeline, which we believe implicates Blake.
She went into full PR mode, rallying celebrity allies and pushing her victim narrative across Hollywood. Well-known figures rushed to defend her, and organizations released supportive statements, turning the case into a public spectacle. The irony came when Lively, who had used the media first, suddenly demanded a gag order to silence Justin Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman.
Monday, they're going to court because two things. Blake is trying to gag them. I don't think that's going to go through. How can you try to say you're playing this in the press when the entire reason we got here was because you tried to play this in the press? Like, you went to the New York Times to try to take him down and to set a public...
Think about that. She was the one who initiated the public attention, yet later complained about the lack of privacy when it turned against her. The judge saw through it immediately and denied her request. There would be no gag order, no silencing of Baldoni's side, and no easy way out. Meanwhile, Owens's digital evidence confirmed that Lively's legal team had everything prepared days before the case was even filed.
I was the psycho who put together the timeline. So I think they've been watching this.
So while Lively appeared shocked and heartbroken in public, behind the scenes she had meticulously planned every move. Once these details came to light, her entire story collapsed, much like a scripted drama that couldn't survive its own plot twist.
The reason we got here was because you tried to play this in the press. Like, you went to the New York Times to try to take him down and to set a public narrative, and now that it's backfiring.
Baldoni's legal team wasted no time incorporating Owens's discoveries. In a move that stunned many, Brian Friedman added her findings directly into the lawsuit, proving that Lively's narrative had been strategically manufactured from the start. It was no longer a question of opinion, there was concrete proof of coordination and manipulation.
He's basically saying that she does not want to sit down for a deposition with Brian Friedman. Like, I know that this girl grew up rich and privileged, but how rich we talking? You know what I'm saying? Because does she think she's just like a princess that she can just be like, I don't like your...
Lively's plan to silence Baldoni's attorneys failed instantly. The court reminded her that she couldn't seek the spotlight and then hide when it no longer favored her. Her attempt to frame herself as a helpless figure while controlling the story behind the scenes was exposed, and the judge made it clear there would be no special treatment. To make matters worse, the evidence Owens introduced was now being taken very seriously.
We talking, you know what I'm saying? Because does she think she's just like a princess that she can just be like, I don't like your lawyer and I don't want to sit down with him and answer questions and tell the truth. So she's trying to get out of having to sit down and be deposed by Brian Friedman. Like, sweetheart, that's not your...
Owens's detailed metadata report forced the court to re-examine everything. The evidence showed that Lively's filing had been carefully timed and coordinated with major media outlets, suggesting that her entire story was crafted in advance. Once this evidence entered the record, her legal argument fell apart, transforming what she hoped would be a solid case into what appeared to be a calculated smear campaign.
Posed by Brian Friedman. Like, sweetheart, that's not your option. You don't get to decide who your defense's lawyer is. He picked Brian Friedman. You don't like him because he played your game better.
Now the case is moving toward a full trial, meaning Lively will have to testify under oath. This time, there will be no press filters, no curated interviews, and no witty distractions from her husband's social media. She'll face direct questioning about every inconsistency in her story. The entertainment industry, which once supported her, will be watching closely as she answers for each piece of evidence.
Went to the New York Times. Oh, nobody could be bigger than the New York Times. Before you filed your lawsuit, as all of the evidence is indicating, because you wanted to set the public narrative against Justin Baldoni. Now that it's backfiring, you're like, hey, I want people gagged. This is unprofessional to go to the press. Everyone sees right through you and Ryan.
Ryan Reynolds, known for his sharp humor and self-awareness, has unexpectedly found himself caught in the fallout. He went from being friendly with Justin Baldoni to condemning him in a matter of weeks, a dramatic shift that raised more than a few eyebrows. Just months earlier, Reynolds had publicly praised Baldoni as a collaborator, making his sudden change of tone look more like strategy than sincerity.
Oh, we weren't trying to play the public, but we put it in every Deadpool scene, and we mocked this man extensively. And but now that the public is onto us and they see how cruel we've been, we would like things to be quiet, and we want a judge to see our side of things. Girl, good.
The two men had shared a visible friendship, attending events together, supporting each other's projects, and posing for those polished Hollywood moments. Then, almost overnight, leaked private messages showed Reynolds speaking harshly about Baldoni. Whether it was pressure from external forces or an internal rift, something clearly changed. Whatever the reason, one thing is certain, the situation has grown far beyond a single lawsuit and has become a defining scandal for everyone involved.